Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I'm the king. Welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. Quickly, before we jump on into this video, guys, today is our 20,000 follower Bitathon celebration on Twitch. Please come on out. It's going to be an amazing show. We can potentially go for 12 full hours. So if you guys want to take part in that, come and hang out, or try to win some awesome prizes. The link will be down below. You're more than welcome to come on out. With that being said, let's jump on into today's video. And today's video are changes that I would incorporate into Dead by Daylight. Now, before I jump on into this, I want to just make it clear to you guys that I didn't really think too much about balancing when it came to these changes. These are just changes that were talked among the community, things that we spoke about before, and just rough ideas of how some things can be changed to suit 2020 better than they do currently. With that being said, we're going to be talking about some of the most strong or game-breaking thing, or maybe underwhelming things that can really use a 2020 overhaul to become more efficient or better in this day and age. Well, let's get started. We're going to talk about number one on the list, Moris. Moris are the most game-breaking thing that we have right now, and no matter how you twist or turn it, if you're a killer or a survivor main, we all know that Moris are very powerful. We've seen things like this that affect the game in opposite ways, such as, insta heals, or the instant, what were they called? Instant brand new parts before they were, nerfed, where they instantly just repair the generator. Same when insta heal, they instantly heal you, hence the names. And Mori is pretty much the same thing along the lines of an insta kill. Now, they've tried to make it a little bit better. It's not as bad as it used to be. Before, you used to just knock someone down and kill them straight out, which was insanely strong. Now, you at least have to put them on a hook. But even then, they can still be tunneled, knocked down, and then Mori'd. Mori'd is just GG. Unless you play a very good game of Survivor, once the Mori's on the board, it's very difficult to deal with. And the community has been really wanting the devs to make a change to Moris. And in fact, the developer said that keys and Moris are going to be changed towards the future, which I'm happy about. So how exactly are they going to make the Moris better? Well, we don't really know, but a good idea of, how they could is something that we spoke about for a long time. If you want to run a green Mori, or any Mori at that, whichever it comes down to based on balancing, make it so that you have to hook every single person on the team. This way, it encourages you to do good. You still need to do good in order to perform that Mori, and on top of that, you can't just tunnel one person out the game with a Mori and just get a basically free hook on them at the start, and then Mori them straight out. With this, in a way, it means that you have to go ahead, knock down the entire team, and perform well, rather than just, tunneling one person, getting them out the game, and completely ruining the game for them. And obviously, people can make the argument that, hey, if they have decisive strike, then that's why that perk is there, for that specific reason. The issue with that is, as soon as you hit your D strike, the killer is just right on top of you again, and it's only a matter of time if the killer really wants you dead until you will die, with a Mori, that is. At least if you have 3 hooks, you'll have more time in order to run away if the killer does decide to tunnel you with or without a Mori. So that is pretty much a change that I would make to a Mori. Make it so that you have to hook everyone at least once. A lot of people just said, just make it so it's on death hook, but again, if you make it so that if it's on death hook, all they will do is just tunnel you down and then get you out the game. So those are my recommended changes. Obviously, we can't take Moris completely out because it's a big selling point, creating an entire new animation for a brand new killer, so you can't just get rid of it. What you can get rid of is probably the ultra rares, getting all 4 people out the game. Maybe you can make that one so everybody needs to be on their last life before you can use it, or the exit gates need to be powered, or something along the lines of that, just to make it a little bit more fair. Alright, let's talk about something else now. We spoke about keys already, so we'll speak about it again. Keys and Moris, could they be changed? They said they would change it towards the future, not high in their priority list, but it's going to be coming. So let's talk about keys. The easiest and most simple solution that we can have the keys is making it so that if you use a key, it only works for one person. That way, it has, a huge snowballing effect on your teammates. Let's say there's 4 people left, and there's just, or 3 people left, I'm sorry, and 1 generator, and you decide to go take that key, use that hatch. You are now locking the hatch for your other teammates to not get it. And what ends up happening is the 2 other teammates are stuck stranded and the killer will just dominate. This is the most effective way to change the key. Now, I have went ahead and made another video about this, talking about even further changes that we could put on into the key. I spoke about the different variations that we could have. I even went ahead and said, you know, spawning a key in the basement when the endgame collapse starts, if the killer locks the hatch or anything like that. So I won't jump too much into detail on it because we do have a separate video for that. But long story short, the best solution to make the keys more viable and have a 2020 overhaul is to simply make it so that if you open the hatch locks automatically behind you. This way, if you want to be stingy and you want to play for yourself, your teammates will suffer for it. And they already kind of have this mechanic where the hatch closes in 15 seconds, and the killer can technically still even close the hatch, so I don't think this is too far-fetched. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on the list to even more changes that we would incorporate on into the game. And the next change that we have on the list is for the clown. The clown sucks. There's no better way of putting it. He is probably, if not the worst killer in the game. The argument can be made for other killers like Pig, Legion, and before Leatherface until he received his buff. So, Clown really can use some lovin', and the most simple way that you can give him a nice overhaul, or not even overhaul, just tweaks, is make it so that the more a survivor is intoxicated with your Afterpiece tonic, the harder or harsher the penalties become. That's it. So if you toss multiple bottles at them, they will continue to slow down, their screen will get even more blurry, things like that, and then the killer can get a hit on you. This will force players not to, you know, loop very hard against Clown, even though it's not the best idea. People still do it, they still get away with it, and the Clown has nothing to do about it. You can also even make it so that every once in a while he gets a really big bottle or something, and it fills up the entire area. This way it can give him a little bit more map control or map pressure. Make it so that if a survivor is too intoxicated, they have a new status effect called Intoxicated, and they can't do anything for a set amount of time. These are all viable ideas to make the Clown way better than he already is, because frankly the Clown sucks. So again, the most simple way to make him better, make it so that his power has a little bit more depth into it. You can make it so that the more bottles you consume at base, the harsher the penalty becomes. You can add a new status effect, and of course reworking all of those lovely add-ons, because as of now there's only about maybe 2 or 3 good add-ons to the Clown, and he just sucks. He sucks, as blunt as I can put it. Alrighty, moving on to our final thing on the list that can use a 2020 overhaul. It doesn't necessarily mean that this one specifically needs a huge change, because I know it's going to strike some nerves with this one, but that thing is NOED. Now NOED, of course, has counterplay to it. You know, you can cleanse all the totems, you can get it out the way, done and done. On some of the newer maps, it is a little bit more difficult to find these totems, and with a perk like Hex Undying coming on in, you're going to have to prioritize your totems, but even then, NOED will still remain, forcing survivors to consistently cleanse these totems, and frankly, NOED rewards poor gameplay. It's that plain and simple. Your game would not go all the way to the end game if you were playing all of your cards right. Now, in some cases, of course, if you do play all your cards right, if the survivors are just working way too fast for you to handle, then you will go to endgame. And on certain killers, this can be understandable for running NOED. But the amount of times that I see an Oni or a Spirit or a Nurse running NOED when it's just over-the-top overkill as a safety net for if you're playing bad in the game. If you're playing good at those characters, you wouldn't make it to endgame because those characters have everything that they need in their kits to perform at a high level and do well. So let's talk about NOED. How are we going to fix NOED? How are we going to make it more viable? I had a very simple solution to this, and well, maybe not so simple, but a very black and white solution, I should say. Every time that you hook a survivor, gain a token. If you hook a survivor twice, you gain 2 tokens, a maximum of 2 tokens in total. So then you can have a maximum at the end of 8 tokens. For every token you have, this will be basically your exposed amount of times you can hit people, and will consume 2 tokens per hit. So essentially what I mean is that if you walk up to someone during endgame collapse and you hit them, it will take 2 tokens away and they'll go into the dying state. Now, you can see where this comes in handy. If a survivor has not been hooked or only been hooked once, what ends up happening is that they won't be exposed, hence they won't be knocked down. So this is going to reward you for good gameplay. If you're hooking people and you're doing your job effectively, but for some reason the game is still towards endgames and it's not your fault, no one will come to save the day. This is a way better idea than what we have now, where it just frankly rewards poor gameplay. This way you would actually have to do fairly decent, and even if you could make it so that it only needs to use 1 token, whatever the case may be, fine tweak my idea, but just make it a little bit more viable in that sense to be more fair on both sides. I think that would be a nice change to NOED. Ladies and gentlemen, that is pretty much going to wrap it up for this video. Those are some changes that I had for 4 things in Dead by Daylight. Let me know about some changes that you would like to see coming on into the game. I would love to hear your opinions down below. Again, we are live on Twitch right now, doing our bit-a-thon, having a great time. So if you guys want to come on over, the link will be down below. I'm very, very tired, but we're going to pull through it. We'll see if we can do all 12 hours. So yeah. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I've been a king. I tip my crown to you guys as always. Thank you all for subscribing recently. Shout out to the Patreons. We'll see you guys in the farm.